It's not about what you bring to the table, but it's about what each of us bring, and how do we learn to love each other as humans first.
When she was growing up in New Jersey in the 1990s, Ibtihaj Muhammad's parents wanted all their children to be able to compete and win in sports. They also wanted to ensure that their daughters remained fully covered and wear hijab to cover their heads.
Embracing one another for our differences is something that most adults in this country can learn right now.
That's so important to say. I mean, that's the both joy and the promise of America.
So could you just talk a little bit about why you were drawn to fencing and also why your parents were really comfortable kind of with you becoming a fencer?
With fencing, it was this unique opportunity to participate in a sport where my mom didn't have to, buy spandex or long sleeves to go underneath like the track uniform. There was no addition that they had to buy to make it kind of hijab friendly.
As a college student at Duke, she was a 3-time All-American athlete and the 2005 Junior Olympic champion. After college, she turned her attention to fencing full-time. She was determined to win an Olympic medal and believed that if she worked hard enough, she could do it. Ibtihaj made history when she secured a spot on the 2016 United States national fencing team.
The sport of fencing is historically very white. So as not only the first Muslim woman to be on the team, I'm also the first woman of color within my weapon to actually go to the Olympics as well. I found myself surrounded by people who may be adverse to the idea of the team changing, the face of the team changing.
Over time, Ibtihaj repeatedly overcame the bigotry directed at her and proved her detractors wrong.
Well, that's something that I think you've handled just so gracefully, with real strength in facing any of the obstacles that did come your way, bullying or discrimination. Give us a little bit of insight into how you really coped with that.
I wanted to make sure that my presence on the team was felt. For those kids who are watching, I wanted them to know that this is something that you can have despite, the naysayers.
Representation is critical. So now I know you have both a children's book and you have a Barbie doll.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what that experience of representation means to the young people that you're encountering.
I knew when I signed my first book deal that I wanted to, delve into children's literature, because as a kid I remember not seeing myself represented in contemporary, children's books, not having, a black character to read about or someone that I could see myself in. I was a really big fan of Babysitter's Club and the American Girl series, and they didn't have stories that I felt like represented, the black community or even the Muslim community. I think it's far too long to not see ourselves represented in the children's literary world.
Ibtihaj, we love your doll. We were talking earlier before they started rolling, though, about how it's too easy for the sword to get off, and then I lose the sword, and then we have to find the sword. Because I also do think it's really important that white kids grow up looking up to you and recognize you as the hero that you are. Because it's not only that little girls who are growing up in black households in New Jersey like you did, or Muslim girls growing up in households anywhere in the world see themselves in you. I really want my kids to think, wow, if I work really hard, maybe I could grow up in the Ibtihaj too.
So cute. Oh, I love it. Perfect hijab moment right here. I mean, to see kind of this really simple idea of embracing one another for our differences is something that, you find in my children's book. I think that's a lesson that most adults in this country can learn right now. It's not about what you bring to the table, but it's about what each of us bring, and how do we learn to love each other as humans first.
That's so important to say. We can be so much more when we work together than we can be individually or in our own separate communities with people who look like us or believe like us. I mean, that's the both joy and the promise of America. And it's thrilling to hear you say that, just as it was to see you get that Olympic medal, because it meant the world to someone like me who has seen these changes over the course of my lifetime. So thank you for what you've done and how you can influence the lives of my grandchildren and children not only across America but the world.